Good evening and welcome to tonight's nightmare. Tonight's nightmare is brought to you by an anonymous source at 4chan at post number 121882841. It's a few days before New Year's Eve. My friend and I decided to go camping to celebrate. He's a real outdoorsy type and I don't really have any idea what I'm doing out there. He convinces me that it'll be fun and we'll make friends out at the campsite. We travel down to the campsite on his Yamaha, but I can't drive because I don't have a license yet. We end up packing the bare minimum, plus booze and weed. He lives in Ballarat, and we end up riding down to Forest where the campsite is. It's down near Lake Elizabeth if anyone knows it. Not too many people there at the moment, with there only being really a couple and their dog, a Boggin family with kids, and an Asian family. I demand we bail, but my friend convinces me to stay, and that as it gets to New Year's Eve night, there'll be more young people. We end up staying for 2 days, and the next day will be New Year's Eve. So far, the only group to show up is a bunch of religious 20-year-olds. They set up a barbecue, but don't drink or anything. I end up getting some free food out of the deal, though. Finally, my friend agrees that this area isn't going to pick up, and we pack up to leave. As we head out, we ask the religious kids to save our spot in case more people arrive. We leave and decide to try our luck in Lorne, even if it'll be completely booked. We spend a few hours in Lorne and realize there's nothing to do, so we head back to Forest and the campsite. When we arrive, it's completely packed, and the religious kids are nowhere to be seen. It's getting into evening, we try to find a spot, but it's completely packed. We ask the Boggin family what's up with the crowd, and they tell us that right before evening it picks up in only a couple hours. I get completely pissed off and have a small breakdown. My friend tells me to chill out, and we can just go camp anywhere illegally. It's not a big deal, and he does that kind of thing all the time. I don't like to break the law, but at this point we're out of options. In between Forest and Lorne is some really dense woods that you need to go around and off-road to reach. We end up getting about 2 kilometers into the bush, and we get our bearings with the compass before setting up camp. Can't start a fire out here due to the chance of starting a bushfire, so we just eat dinner, smoke some weed, and head to bed. I end up waking up sometime in the night and groggily look around, confused at what could have woken me up. It finally registers in my mind that I can hear something walking around the campsite. It sounds big. After my mind clears some more, the odor hits. It smells like meat that's been rotting in the heat for a week. I'm completely frozen with fear at this point, hardly daring to breathe, eyes glued to the entrance of the tent. I hear the thing brush against the entrance of the tent, and I swear to you, it sounded like a light sniffing on the other side of the cloth. And just like that, it leaves, quickly. My body starts thawing as the fear wears off, and I wake my friend. As I try to explain to him what happened, he tells me I'm a pussy and there's probably a kangaroo or something. I ask him about the smell, and since he can't smell anything, we should just go back to sleep. The next day, New Year's Eve arrives. I disregard my fear as probably a kangaroo that rolled in something dead. At this point, there won't be any spots anywhere else, so we spend the night again and decide we should head to the beach for the day. We're getting the motorbike ready for travel when randomly a guy strolls into camp. I almost die from panic thinking it's a ranger or something, but he doesn't have a uniform on. He introduces himself as Jack and goes on about how he's camping out here illegally as well and can't believe he found other people. He heard us come in late last night on the bike and decided to check it out in the morning. His camp was only 300 meters away, and he seemed like a pretty okay guy. He asked us how me and my friend met. We tell him the story about how we were both going out with the same girl and found out about it. Rather than us fighting about it, we dumped the girl and actually became good friends. He enjoys the tale, and we tell him about going to the beach for the day, and since we're packing up, we probably wouldn't see him again. His response triggered something in me, though. I wouldn't be so sure about that. Humans have an excellent sense of direction when they need it. He said humans, not our. Anyway, we go to the beach and meet some chicks. Nothing exciting happened today, so we head back later in the afternoon. As we get back in the bush, we find another clearing. My friend claims it's the same one, but it's clearly not. As we discuss whether there may or may not have been a tree stump on one side of the clearing, none other than Jack himself walks into our clearing. He breaks the argument by letting us know it's not the same clearing, but close, and just so happens to be close to his own site. Jack and my friend really hit it off. and start discussing camping and other stuff I don't really know about. So I head out to use the bathroom. As I leave the site, I decided to go check out Jack's site. He was pretty close, all right, and only about 100 meters away, but the place was a wreck. Pots and pans lying everywhere, and the tent zipper was halfway down, so who knows what was crawling around in there. I noticed then there's no transportation around, so I must have hiked in. As I rationalize this, the smell hits. It's that same smell. A deep, instinctual fear creeps through me, and I bolt back the way I came. As I leave the clearing, a deafening screech lets out from somewhere ahead of me, unlike any animal or human has ever made. I keep moving and I hear it again, but closer. At this point, I break into a dead sprint, and as I pick up the speed, I hear a voice to my right say, "Hey kid, hold up." I heard it too. I don't stop running or look, and I completely bust into camp. At that point I realize it sounded like Jack's voice. And in the clearing, my friend's the only one here. And at this point he actually listens to my story since he can see how terrified I am. But he tells me that Jack left him 10 minutes ago. I explain how Jack's campsite looked and how Jack wasn't there at all, and how I heard him in the woods. My friend rationalizes everything as an animal in distress. Jack's packing, and my imagination must be running wild. My bud offers to go check out his camp together. I don't want to, but get convinced to go. When we get there, everything is gone. At this point, my friend's trying not to laugh at me and says he needs to pee, so he heads out into the woods out of sight. This is completely normal for him since he hates peeing in front of others. And as I wait, something catches my eye in the breeze, and I look up to see a ripped t-shirt in the branches with what looks like blood on it. I lose my mind again and start yelling for my friend. At that point, that screech lets out again, and I just book it in a direction. I end up running 200 meters in the opposite direction of the campsite, so I stop and catch my breath before I get lost. Then I hear this weird high-pitched sound coming from behind me, and I realize it's my friend calling out for me, and relief hits me. I find him and quickly ask if he heard that screech, and he nods and asks if he knew where camp was. Yeah. I assert that I do and explain about the shirt as we head back into camp. My friend agrees, it's really creepy and all. Well, at least Jack is gone now, so we can spend the night here. Wait. What? That fear starts creeping back into me, and I disagree and make it well known that I definitely want to leave. And at this point, my friend gets really angry at me and yells out, "What the hell, man? I can't believe you just want to bail because you think it's a bad situation. Don't you remember when that girl was playing with us, and instead of fighting, we came out of a bad situation becoming friends?" Again, what? It was a really weird thing to say, and it really didn't fit contextually into what we were discussing. Well, hold on. We can't stay because we have no food, no water, we only got booze and beer. So how about we just take this, head back to Ballarat, and hang out with the friends we got there. Finally he agrees, but says he needs to take a piss first. So he asked me to come with him out in the woods to take a piss since that screech really freaked him out. And I start following him, and my brain picks up just as I get a whiff of that smell again. That rotten meat smell. My brain also at that point reminds me my friend needs privacy to pee in all situations. So I just tell him that, hey, hold up, we should just pack up and leave. He can hold it. He reluctantly agrees, and we pack up the tent, with me mostly doing all the work and him just sitting there watching me, which is weird because he's the camper and I don't really know much what's going on. He's really protective over his camping gear. I pack the saddlebag for the bike and wait for him to get on. He gives me this weird look. Hey, can't you drive this time? I'm feeling really weird at this point because he knows I can I can ride, but I don't have my license. Hey man, I'm really tired. Can you just do it today? We'll be fine. I agree. I just want to get the hell out of here. He gets on behind me and he puts his hands tightly around my waist, which you should know you don't have to do because we have a back plate on the bike. I, I, I just check the compass, and after a while, we get onto the road. After an hour, I pull over because we're going to get to the highway soon. I tell him we need to switch because I don't have my license. He gets on, but then he asks where we're going. I can't believe this shit. Dude, we're going back to your house, right? Yeah. Nods and starts riding again. Then realize he has no idea where he's going. I knew something was seriously wrong at this point because I have to direct him back to his own house, and what? Who doesn't know where they live? At this point, I drop him off. And basically, I just get the hell out of his house because I couldn't stand to be in the same room as him anymore. And on the trip, things started clicking together in my brain, like how he could only do things like drive the bike after I showed him, and how the only things he seemed to discuss were the things we had discussed at camp with Jack. And he's really been different from this point on. He's got a dog and he loves his dog. It's his favorite thing. It's been with him for 12 years, but when we got to his house, he didn't greet it. He didn't pat it. He did nothing. He's sending out these weird text messages that they start off all broken and disjointed, but they're slowly getting better. What did we meet out in those woods? Do I still have a friend?